It's been a long day already, Dagda.
No,
this
it's just
cast
I
is gonna
didn't
get
realize.
kooky.
I didn't realize how close that was to pick and bang and or pick and ban until you said it. Like,
Yeah.
but anyway, it is gonna get a bit kooky. The question for me is, if Lulu's gonna get banned, Lulu does get banned. We will not get the exact same remake as we had last game. But again, Hex Flash is not allowed to be used in this game. So I'm curious to see now how that does mix things up and how that does potentially change up the support pool. I'm curious to see if just from a comfort perspective, if we see people just going back to, you know, your bog standard. But I genuinely think that this could actually have a pretty big impact on the state of affairs.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see as the series pans out here. It's going to be a Nocturne first pick, Kaisa and Rumble to answer. Then over towards BLG, you could expect maybe something like the EDG could be locked in for WeiWei. The Varus maybe could be taken up this time, so perhaps something like Tahm Kench could go up in priority as well. We'll have to wait and see what they opt into from the side of BLG.
Hey, well, I mean, as we're talking about it, no Hex Flash means that you're actually a lot safer as this Varus in the bottom side of the map. You're not going to have, like, all these people suddenly flashing on you out of bushes and that, so you can actually look to play that lane a lot easier. Now, Tahm Kench would still be nice to be paired with it, but it means that you probably don't have to as much, but looks like we're going to see that anyway for ppgod on the bottom side of the map. And you've got a pretty potent kind of front to back style fight that could come through here from BLG with the Nocturne kind of playing as that dive and setting up alongside the Varus for a decent fight.
I'm going to be totally honest with you here, Dagda. I really hope this is an exciting game now.
Yeah, I feel like the stakes have been raised.
Super quiet early game at this point. I think everyone's going to cry in chat. Here we go, though. It looks like a Renekton's going to make it through. We've seen Renekton banned a reasonable amount recently. It is going to be locked in here for the red 3 pick on the side of EDG. Very expectant that that will go towards Flandre in the top side, but it's possible that Scout could take it in the mid lane as well. Now towards the bans. I think these bans will kind of indicate where EDG want to send this Renekton.
Yeah, well, honestly, I think you ban junglers here. I think when you have, like, basic Rumble locked in, you've already gotten rid of, like, the Lee Sin, you can get rid of Udyr, you can get rid of some of these other, like, pesky jungle champions that we've seen come out, like, even something like the Kindred or the Viego or anything along these lines realistically, just to try and keep it all kind of in check and make sure that WeiWei just isn't having as easy a time as maybe once previous.
Yeah, we'll see what EDG want to remove here. Viego, as you mentioned, getting taken away here by BLG. Set is still available. Set has been a very, very popular pick today. I wouldn't be too surprised to see either team go for that. The Volibear taken off, so that does say to me that Flandre is probably taking that Renekton top side.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of a double whammy, which is nice for the Volibear. We've seen the Volibear jungle coming out over in North America, I believe it was. And as well, then you're also just handy enough getting rid of a ban or a nice counter pick for the Renekton. So overall, nice and decent. Set going to be banned away here by BLG, so they're actually not fully convinced that this Renekton is going topside, but I think overall, EDG kind of have a pretty nice composition here.
I think it's Meiko. Cool sign regardless. So Nautilus being hovered, you've got the Kaisa. It's just a great lock-in. Very, very good also at locking people up on the equalizer from the Rumble. Really, really solid pickup to go for with this composition. Nice stuff from EDG. And now the answer from BLG. They need to grab themselves a jungler and probably a mid laner.
Yeah, and just on the Nautilus point as well, the good thing is that even if Tahm Kench does, eat up the Varus, the ultimate will follow through and hitting up the Tahm, so you still get value from the ultimate. It's not like Tahm Kench can just kind of run away with that. But as you said, jungler and mid laner more than likely to be locked in, although it looks like Zeka or WeiWei may actually be piloting the Nocturne here, as BiuBiu will get his hands on the Jayce. So still an okay matchup in the top lane, basically just trying to play around your range here as BiuBiu and avoid the opportunity for a slicing dice from Flandre to close that gap. Again, though, we're seeing this Sylas come through as a blind pick. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I still think there's a lot of ways to counter it. It's got some good use when you look towards the likes of the Rumble, and you can take some of the ultimates away from like the Nautilus, but overall I think you're leaving too much open for Scout here. You can just essentially play what he wants now.
Yeah, Scout has the pick of the litter here, but at least the Sylas won't be in his hands because we've all seen what Scout Sylas can do. But BiuBiu on the Jayce once more. He had an amazing game number 1 in this series. I'm excited to see him on that once again, and it will be that Nocturne in the jungle for WeiWei. But Scout going with the Ryze at the end of the day. So kind of a bit of a classic pick for him, and it's one of those picks that has been in a lot of conversations about how good of a pick it is. In competitive, really, really strong pick. In the game in general, not so much, because it requires so much coordination to play it correctly with a team. I will say, though, I like the composition here from EDG. Keeping it fairly simple, keeping it fairly standard from their side, and it feels like a composition that, if they play it well, they'll be able to take over a game.
Yeah, and I agree fully with that. I think the biggest thing here is, like, you've kind of got options throughout the game, right? Early game, you can try and play through this Renekton. You've got the stuns to set up for the likes of the Rumble. Even you look towards, like, post-level 6, you've got up both sides of the map are open for Marome for scouts, so they can kind of play through multiple styles there as well. They've got really strong team fight as well and can play objectives quite well. So I like what EDG have. They've got multiple channels where they can try and push their advantages in this game. But then when you look across at BLG, I think you're kind of in a similar boat here. We already kind of said, hey, look, you've got some great poke that can come through from the likes of the Jayce. You've got the follow-up damage that can come through super well when the Nocturne goes in. So I think you've got like decent answers here. But I think if we end up in some kind of front-to-back fight, I think the Rumble ultimate is going to do a lot of work in separating out this team fight and stopping some of the short-range carries on BLG from having as big of an impact.
Big question is if they can play that kind of peel style and keep those carries away. But I'm excited just to get this underway, to get this decided, Dagda. I feel like the question has been on my lips for the last 9 hours at this point. Who is the better team, EDG or BLG? And I feel like the answer has been tantalizingly close, but the goalpost keeps moving. It just keeps skipping away from me. And now we're heading on to the Rift, a long-awaited game. Is going to kick off. Yeah, the answer has been Hex flashing away from me, except then Hex flash broke, so it couldn't flash away from me anymore. And then the game started.
So now we're here. Now we made it. We did it. But
what a time to be alive.
I hope we do get to see the runes here, just to see if anyone did accidentally take it, and now they're just not allowed to use Hex flash. But overall, I think coming into this, for EDG, we already kind of pointed out, look, you've got a lot of angles of attack here, right? Especially as Jiejie and Scout. Both side lanes in this game have the opportunity to set you up super, super well. But when I look across at BLG, you're going to have like push top side, and you should have push bot side as well. So at least for WeiWei, he should have some help with scuttle crabs, but Zeka should be pushed in this mid lane, which makes it a little bit more difficult for WeiWei to just easily garner a crab for himself.
Yeah, the mid lane especially, like, Zeka's going to have a very hard time because, as you mentioned in one of the previous games, Sylas already has a pretty hard time in the early laning phase. Ryze can clear the wave just in the blink of an eye, so it's kind of polar opposites there. It's infinite prio for Scout to start that laning phase off, but if he does push too hard, he'll run out of mana. Instant exhaust there onto Viper as ppgod gets pulled in, but that's a huge trade in favor of EDG to start this lane off on the bottom side.
Again, like, I mean, we know we kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt in the last game that got remade, but ppgod has been getting caught out quite a bit, and it seems like he's just been punished for these constant over-aggressions. In that situation, like, Amin has the range advantage, you have the level 2 push faster as well, because Varus with his E can clear faster than Kaisa with the Q, so no reason to try and go that aggressive that early, and now, even though you have the level 2, you're not really able to punish as hard as you'd like, and even maybe the opportunity for Viper and Meiko to try and freeze the wave just here and stop the push from BLG and stop them from being able to crash this wave.
Jiejie looking to make a play on the top side of the map. BiuBiu's in trouble. His extended does have flash available, but there's the Ruthless Predator. Jiejie actually tried to predict the flash with his Electro Harpoon there. Yeah. Unfortunate, but hey. BiuBiu will survive. Zeka also, I guess he tried to go for SCS. That's what happens when you tried CS as Sylas early on in the laning phase.
ppgod, what are you doing? How have you been taken down low again? All pots burn. This is not the best of looks for this bottom lane. Now, I mean, looks like they're just trying to hard force this in so then they can try and help out with WeiWei on the bottom side. But still, I mean, not exactly the best of trades happening for BLG in this bottom side.
He does have mad health regen, though, as Tahm Kench. Like, he's already back up to basically 400 HP. It's kind of insane. As Jiejie is just like, you know what? I'll try top side again. Spots out a ward, though, so Realizes he's not going to be able to go for it for now, unless he finds another opportunity. BiuBiu respects it, backs away. He's playing on the very edge of danger here. He's trying to shove that wave. He's trying desperately. It's not going to happen, though. The flash forward from Jiejie, but they're too far away. Electro Harpoon in the stun is still there. BiuBiu trying to get away. He jumped back in. He gets away with it, though. Damage out and nearly 2v1s.
And this is so much time wasted by Jiejie as well. So now you've got the double flash invested. The kill doesn't go across. BiuBiu just resets and he'll TP in anyway, so he gets the wave. But this takes so much pressure off of WeiWei. He knows that, hey, look, I actually get to fully clear my jungle. I can get the better reset here. I can be out on the map and have better influence. And for a jungler like Nocturne that is fairly heavily reliant on a level 6, having this nice early clear to get to that point is going to be super nice.
Yeah. I mean, WeiWei, he's literally just sat at his computer giggling away to himself. The fact that the enemy jungler spent so long trying to make that play happen and it didn't work while he gets to just clear and try and get level 6. It's like the dream scenario for any Nocturne players. It's beautiful to see from the side of WeiWei. And a bit of a disaster for Jiejie up in the top side. Zeka in trouble again, but Scout forced away with the chain lash there. And we'll have to see if EDG can start to make some of these plays work across the map. Because, again, did feel like a big investment, but he's only 2 camps down for now.
Yeah. I think the thing here for WeiWei is that now at least he's kind of going, okay, well, what can I actually do to try and play aggressive? Because my bot lane losing quite heavily. My mid lane is as well. And then we look top and like my flash is burnt on towards BiuBiu. It's going to be really difficult to try and lock it.
Hang on. Meiko's in trouble here. I think it's important to mention, bot lane isn't really necessarily losing. They were oh, hang on. WeiWei kicked out. Jiejie looking for a chance there. A ward goes over. Jiejie didn't actually see that ward go down. Interestingly, WeiWei did get spotted by the Scry's Bloom, though, and now maybe a dive on the bottom side. No ultimate available for Jiejie. Scout does have his, but don't think it's going to happen. And it looks like BLG will survive for now. But yeah, when it comes to like the CS numbers in this bottom lane, they're actually still doing fine. Sure, ppgod's taken some rough trades for himself, but he's still okay. Zeka actually going to flash out in the mid lane as nice realm warp to try and get Jiejie into the play. But again, EDG trying to force these plays, but not finding anything.
Yeah, it wasn't at the topside scuttle for Jiejie, which is at least something to kind of get himself back. But I think the bigger thing from the losing out on bot lane, it's more about on the push, right? Because ppgod had taken so many aggressive trades, he could no longer like stay up in lane, and Meiko may be doing the same.
Oh my goodness. A lot of damage coming out. Viper, still a lot of HP though, so means BLG can't chase to try and finish the kill onto Meiko, but if he's not careful on that recall, the piercing arrows from Varus really don't mess about. Once you've smacked that W button, really will chunt you out. Viper, happy to be aggressive, though, to protect his support in this bottom lane. We'll be able to get the safe recall off.
Yeah, I think as well, they were just conscious that WeiWei would be hitting 6 levels soon, but isn't the top side of the map, so don't have to be too worried about trying to make any sort of plays on the bot side, as no flash on Zeka.
Flandre making a play in the mid lane. Oh no, Zeka, there's nowhere to go, mate. There's a jungler there as well. Everybody arrives to ruin Zeka's day. Unfortunately for Scout, he doesn't get an assist, but at the end of the day, a kill's a kill's a kill's a kill, and they're going to be able to shut down Zeka in the mid lane.
Yeah, it was overextended in lane, trying to shove that wave in so Scout couldn't freeze, but it means that if that's the case, they'll happily go and make a play towards mid lane, and now they're going to turn over towards these dragons as well with Meiko and Jiejie, just making sure they get this deep vision control in and can actually look to power through the advantages that Meiko and Viper have on bot side and shut down WeiWei early.
I'm impressed at how proactive EDG are being on the map here. It feels like the entire game plan right now is don't let WeiWei play League of Legends. We're going to try and make dives happen every single lane. We're going to try and invade every single time we have an opportunity. Really proactive gameplay. Does mean that Jiejie slightly down in CS, but with that pick onto Zeka, does mean he will still have the lead.
Blue buff is going to be handed off here to Scout as well, and I feel like with this blue buff now, Scout should be able to pretty much entirely shove in mid, and then they can start to look for these plays. You see Meiko and Viper, I thought might be looking to freeze that wave there, so you have to overextend it, ppgod and aiming, but I want to see EDG kind of like really put their foot down here. We already see the amount of vision control they have on bot side. They know exactly where WeiWei is, so they're pretty much aware at all points in time as to what the BLG game plan is. so they can actually work through Jiejie and try and solidify a few of their own. Now, Scout can also go towards top side if they want to. Flash will be back up for BiuBiu and Flandre at about the same time. And you can see here, WeiWei is kind of cognizant of this and just trying to keep these mid-wave shoved in so Scout has less of an opportunity to roam.
Jiejie spots him, but just going to be a little bit of a sparring battle as Flandre kicked out at the top side here. BiuBiu getting a really good trade for himself. He knows WeiWei is nearby. If he can get Flandre low, remember the paranoia, WeiWei would be able to just brute force a dive on that top side, but Jiejie is going to be able to spot this Herald out and maybe contest, but Scout heading back to base does have TP, but realistically, I don't think he'll be able to come back and get in onto this play. You can see ppgod and aiming. We saw this in game 3.1 where they made the play towards mid on Scout. Scout flashes away though from the chains and he's going pretty deep into the wrong jungle. That is both summoners from aiming. This guy is going aggressive. Can he get the chains? It stops the realm warp. It's beautiful in the end. Scout gonna be taken down. TP being channeled now. Meiko gets a hook, but he's gonna be eaten up by ppgod here. Can they get away from this one? Equalizer across the team. ppgod flashes away onto the blast cone. Knocked up. Can he get away with the blast cone? He's gonna be able to get it in the last second here. The shield comes through from the thick skin, but the ignite is there. The thick skin times out. And EDG 3 for 1.
3 for 1 and the dragon as well. So even though they tried to make the play into Scout, Scout buys so much time, the rest of EDG can collapse. And big victory there for the EDG side. Now TP back top side, but the tower may not survive, and this may not be the TP.
Yeah, Scout is suddenly in a 3 versus 1 here. The Herald will get the charge in. The tower is still alive, though. WeiWei about 1 HP here. But so is Scout underneath the tower. Can they finally finish him off? Nobody goes down to the tower in the end. This will be a BLG favored play, but it was dicey.
It was dicey and might be answered on the bottom side as well. Meiko trying to go forward. Flash not quite available yet.
Aiming is here as well. Remember, this is a lethality Varus, so he does have a lot of damage on those Qs. If JJ is not careful, could get into kill range. No chain of corruption available for aiming right now, so I don't think there will be any kill threat. And they will just be able to clear the wave. About 10 CS advantage in that bottom side, but that's going to be fine for the side of aiming. He doesn't need super expensive items. Being that lethality Varus, you can get away with a lot less. Let's take another look at the play on Scout.
Yeah, I mean, nice job from Scout here. So flashes away from the hooks, gets aiming the flash and the heal for the speed up. Now, if he'd been able to dodge the chains of corruption, he would have been out, but aiming does just about manage to hit him, and that's when we get the rest of EDG arriving. They're like, right, we're going to make this play happen. TP comes in, and they're able to get the 3 for 1 trade out the back of that. It's the follow-up play, though, where BLG end up bringing a lot of that gold back. Kill on towards Scout. And you also get a hell of a turret plates on towards the Sylas as well. So Zeka 2-0-1 or 2-1-0. A lot of gold invested into this guy right now. You can actually see it on your screens that he's about 500 gold ahead of Scout. So this guy has the potential to carry. And when you've got ultimates like that equalizer to steal away, it can be pretty big.
Scout trying to get onto WeiWei. Zeka's there as well. They will survive. And importantly, Zeka got 2 kills. During all of that chaos, both of the kills that BLG have gone to Zeka. We talked about how Sylas struggles in the early laning phase. We're well past that point now. He's level 9. Zeka is ready to brawl. He's getting close to the Everfrost as well. So that will be a point where Zeka really starts to get online and get into this game, get into these scraps.
I think the biggest thing, though, is trying to use that at Dragons, right? Because it feels like if you're BLG, you have a ton of poke that can come through from aiming, from BiuBiu as well. Whereas for EDG, they're very much reliant on, like, getting Flandre into these fights or a creative realm warp to try and set up these plays for Meiko. If I'm BLG, especially knowing that there's no Hex Flash in this game, I think your best bet is to try and contest a large portion of these dragons, even if it's not to get the dragons, but just to try and continue to poke, use the fact you've got this range, and see if you can maybe pick up 1 or 2 kills before you hard commit.
Oh, Paranoia mid. That's going to be Scout going down once again, but a play towards the top side as well. I don't think they've been able to commit to that one. He had a ward in River, so I think BiuBiu will be safe from the counterplay. Now towards the bot side goes WeiWei, so does ppgod aiming. His lethality Varus, he can just clear the wave.
Yeah, I love that BLG actually kind of got a 2 for 1 trade there. WeiWei, oh, hang on. Oh.
Zeka's in trouble, flashes away. Flandre can't quite get the stun in time. Zeka will be all right.
because of the TP bot now.
Hang on,
I'm not gonna get this talk.
There's too much going on here. Meiko gets the depth charge out, flashes away from the arrow. I'm not even sure if that would have killed, but better safe than sorry, says Meiko. And this time his flash actually works. Zeka here in a 1v1 with Flandre. Dips over the wall, gets himself to safety. Curious what's happening in the bot lane here, but I think it's all going to defuse.
Yeah, I mean, BiuBiu committing that TP was a little bit questionable. Like, you don't have hard lockdown unless Amin has the Chains of Corruption, but unfortunately it doesn't look like they were able to hold them in place long enough or hit. And now you're able to just clear out this wave as EDG. So for BLG, they're just kind of stuck here, where they're like, well, Dragon's in a minute and 10. We don't really have a TP now that we can successfully use, so BiuBiu's got to stick around here and just kind of share lane XP with Amin and ppgod.
Yeah, it looks like BiuBiu is going to recall in the end. As WeiWei moved up towards the top side, Scout playing very safely up in that top lane, not wanting to push too far. Let's take another look. I think it was just a Paranoia play straight on Scout.
It was, but the big thing here was that because the Paranoia locked off the vision, they weren't sure where WeiWei was. Wasn't sure if he's mid or if he was top side. And they couldn't actually coordinate the play properly. Like, that's one of the things about the Paranoia is the darkness really shuts down a lot of the communication, stops you from being able to properly coordinate. So the fact that they had that play, WeiWei kind of got a 2-for-1 special where he gets the kill mid, but also shuts down any play towards BiuBiu in the top side.
All right, well, this is a good way for Game 3 to start, isn't it? 3 for 3 on the scoreboard. One Drake going the way of EDG. Next one up in 10 seconds' time. There's a minor gold advantage in favor of BLG, but it is just that 1,000, and so much of it is sat in the pocket of Zeka, already with the Everfrost, but he also has 6 stacks on a Dark Seal. If he can have another good fight, turn that into a Medjay's, we're setting up for a game where Zeka can be the one to take over.
BiuBiu doesn't realize he's sitting on a ward, though. Curious to see if Meiko and Viper were going to try and make anything happen, but I mean, yeah, as you said, like, Zeka could be the one to try and go for these big plays, and you can see now in a side lane, Scout 0-3, he's got to run for the hills, especially with that Everfrost. So easy to catch these range carries as a Sylas with that item completed.
Yeah, what we were talking about before with the priority and the ability for Ryze to just shove in, not the case anymore. When you've got 3-1 versus 0-3, all of the early matchup knowledge goes completely out of the window. This isn't even early laning phase anymore. Dragon is up though, and EDG want to start this one off. Equalizer available for Jiejie, so I'll have to keep our eyes on where he's able to place that one. But it looks like BLG not particularly interested in this one. It's just going to be the Cloud Drake, so they allow that one to go. A TP comes out from Zeka here. Yeah. I guess they just want to go for the help.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by this. So, oh, hang on, just gonna hold on to this point for a second. As both teams kind of posturing now. You got a lot of poke that coming from BLG.
BiuBiu's over in bot.
I don't think they really know what they're doing. So the thing for me there was like, Zeka can just play a 1-4 style, right? You've got your 2 poke champions in BiuBiu and I mean WeiWei to a certain extent as well. Like, leave Zeka in the side lane. Oh, hang on.
Oh, flash away comes out from Jiejie. We will be able to survive for now. That's Paranoia going to be used, though. Big ultimate taken away from BLG. BiuBiu has moved up, though. He's in position. There's Equalizer, so jungle ult for jungle ult here, and no picks are going to happen. Could mean that that's the opportunity now for BLG to go for this Herald, because Equalizer, I would say, is a bit more of an important cooldown.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at Zeka having access to this Nautilus ult, that's going to be pretty devastating for someone like Viper or Scout. But again, I think Zeka could have just actually played off towards his top side. You've got poke on the other 4 champions, so no need for Zeka to actually join in here and just try and like spread out the issues across the map for EDG. Because if Scout is constantly trying to deal with Zeka in a side lane, it makes things a hell of a lot easier for BLG because you don't have that realm warp to actually like close the gap on towards the BLG roster. But end up TPing mid, they end up getting that Rift Herald, so at least they're getting some value out of the Summoner Spell usage.
Yeah, they will be able to grab that in the end, but importantly, Jiejie has finished the Night Harvester now. He's starting to get scary himself. That Equalizer will do a lot of damage on impact. So BiuBiu just going to head back to base on this one. This feels tense, Dagda, but every single game so far today, when it's been relatively quiet in the early game, and even though it's been action-packed, there's not been that many kills in this early game. At kind of the 20-minute mark, that's when everything's kicked off. So I've got a feeling in a couple of minutes when that next Drake comes up, we're going to start to see these two teams going ham.
Yeah, and well, I think certainly for BLG, it's going to be a bit slower, as maybe not.
Maybe not, because we've got a pick in the jungle. The paranoia is not enough to get him out, and will be both players. Oh no, aiming's gone down as well. It's all gone a little bit pear-shaped here for BLG, as EDG managed to find 2 picks in the jungle. It's going to be too early for the Drake, but they can move towards this bottom lane tower and at least find something off the back of that. And very nice play coming out from them to find 2 picks.
Again, though, EDG are just playing the map better, right? They've already got 5 members in towards mid. They just go and take over this bottom side jungle. They know Zeka has no teleport on top side, and he's already fully invested in trying to push that wave. So EDG, with the man advantage, find the pick, find the tower, and now again, they'll be able to get this deep vision control that you can see on the mini-map before this dragon in 2 minutes. So EDG, again, looking in prime position to take this next objective and force BLG into an uncomfortable position.
EDG clearing all of the waves and getting a reset off themselves as well. Let's take another look at the action, because it was just WeiWei. Phase checks in. I'm curious how aiming got caught out as well, though. I guess he was just, the Realm Warp.
I mean, you've nowhere to go, yeah. Realm Warp coming in on the back line, delivering the Ryze and the Renekton. Like, there's nowhere for you to go there. Doesn't have the flash available. And unfortunately, ppgod tried to save WeiWei, which meant there was no safety for aiming in that one. So they end up both going down rather than just the one. Now, though, you can see BLG, they're starting to try and take the pop shots. They're trying to see if they can make these plays work again. But I love watching players like Scout when they get their hands onto a Ryze, because the creative use of these realm warps makes it so difficult, even for these ranged compositions, to actually stay at range, because you can come in from so many different angles, so many like dark spots on the map, that you have to be so careful as BLG.
It's kind of similar to the Tahm Kench pick, right? Where a lot of people see Tahm Kench as just this defensive pick, but actually it can be used as a almost hard engaged champion in some ways, where you can, or at least a hard engage enabler, right? Where you can deliver your hard engage, you can deliver your front line onto them, or just use that ultimate to make a flanking play. So definitely really excited to see the very best players playing champions like the Tahm Kench, like the Ryze as well, for the creativity, as you say. But now in the mid lane, Herald going to be dropped here by BLG as they look to make a move on this mid lane. Good damage out from BiuBiu here, and there's a lot of lethality on the side of BLG. And Dagda, that could be bad news. Flandre going to be knocked up here. I don't think they can follow up to finish off the kill. But importantly, BLG, ton of lethality here. It's going to be Mountain Soul this game, so it's really important for BLG to maintain control of the Drakes for the rest of the game, because it's only going to get harder against all of that armor.
It's going to be a tough one as the hook.
Oh, big pick here, but ppgod managed to get away. Has that thick skin, so a lot of health regen will come on through. Flandre with his ult ticking away, trying to get onto ppgod. Viper follows him on in, but Zeka with a great Everfrost to disengage the fight on that one. WeiWei, no paranoia available. Does have the flash, but no way he can contest this Drake. And that is going to be 3 Drakes now for EDG. BLG are officially on a timer.
Yeah, and this is really disastrous for BLG, because as you said, Munch, like, the fact that you've got a Mountain Dragon against the amount of lethality that's there, I mean, even aiming, actually, if you look at his items, going for that Duskbladed Draktar, we've seen a lot more of the Prouder's Claw, just because it has the most lethality on the lethality items, but going for the Duskblade means that he's even going to be hurting a little bit for that. So right now, BLG are going to be in such a bad spot, especially when we look towards, you know, the Randuin's Omen that Flandre will be building third item, the Zhonya's that will come through from Jiejie, hell, even Scout as well.
Does Equalizer even have a cooldown? That's the only question I've got remaining, as ppgod saves Aiming's life but sacrifices himself. But a stopwatch buys him some time. Zeka trying to dip out as well, but Aiming goes down. What a shot from Scout! Sniping him with the Ryze, getting an extra kill. That's 2 picks now for EDG. And Baron could be on the cards, Dagda.
Yeah, they have a lot of damage to take this down, and it's not like they're particularly low on health as well. So Viper and Jiejie going to start this. Scout going to hold on to that mid lane wave. Has that TP to join in as well, but you're only 3 members of BLG. You can't really do anything here.
It's going to be very difficult to contest. They do have a bit of poke from BiuBiu, which can do work in a Baron pit. Getting some damage down. WeiWei used the paranoia already. Has flash. Might go for the steal here, the 50-50, but it's not going to happen. Jiejie gets the snipe. It's another kill now onto WeiWei, and Scout just standing there, intimidating. And BiuBiu just has to try and flee, but the slow from the Equalizer. Flandre trying to close the gap. Will get blasted away. by the Thundering Blow here. And looks like Zeka, mate, I'm not sure the blue buff is worth it. Here comes ppgod to try and gobble up Zeka. Might be able to save the day. Kingsley comes through, and it's actually Scout that's in trouble. I completely read it wrong, and Zeka outplays them beautifully.
I mean, it's your own words used against you. The semi-global ultimate from the Tahm Kench coming back, and now BiuBiu, he wants to find more.
Jiejie could be in trouble here, but BiuBiu can't quite go in. Viper just blows him up. The rest of the team was not ready to make that play alongside him. Zeka couldn't get in. There was no hard engage there. WeiWei, his ultimate was on cooldown. He was over in the base, I think, at the time. So unfortunate there. BiuBiu trying to make the play, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, still, though, we're looking at a 4,000 gold lead for EDG. 2.5 minutes until this next Mountain Dragon comes up, and for EDG, you're kind of hitting a spot where you're going to be in relatively good shape, right? Viper's going to finish that Ruin's Hurricane. He'll be hurting a ton of members of BLG, especially with the short, well, if they can close that gap and actually get onto a few of these members, which they should be able to do with the Realm Warp. And then when you look towards the likes of the Sterix Gauge just completed for Flandre, he's going to be a menace to try and take down. Scout as well, having just completed his Zhonya's, means he can go forward super aggressive. So EDG coming across a lot of these big item breakpoints that are going to make it super difficult for BLG to deal with.
Yeah, it's getting to a point where when you look at the top of the scoreboard, everything is going the way of EDG, right? The only thing BLG have is a couple more towers, but in the current scheme of things, that's not going to matter at all. The 3 Drakes are what's really important here, because in a minute and 30 seconds, that 4th one will come up. And BLG are going to have to expend absolutely everything to try and secure that objective. Because if EDG, if they get a Mountain Soul, Dagda, I think this game is as good as over at that point.
Flandre hovering off in a flank position here, just enough to scare BLG away. And yeah, I agree with you, Munch. Once the Dragon comes up, that's kind of lights out for BLG. And the problem is, again, EDG are just playing this map better. You don't really have control of side lanes here for BLG, despite the fact that Zeka has 3 kills. Like, the bot side of the map as well, BiuBiu's just only managed to push out, but with 50 seconds left, and you can already see EDG having reset, they'll be able to push out these side lanes, get control over the mid lane as well, and be in a position to contest really well, or contest this dragon while having a great reset for themselves as well.
So 40 seconds to make that happen, and as you mentioned, the reset's already come through from the side of EDG. They're all on their way over. Viper grabbing that red buff for himself. And we'll be able to clear this wave and then try and take control of the river. You've got to keep your eyes on Jiejie, where he's going to be able to find the equalizer. Everfrost onto Meiko, but they don't commit to the play here. Zeka has that depth charge, though. Will do a lot of damage in the hands of Sylas. As BiuBiu will put the top side, trying to 1v1 Flandre. This ain't the top lane anymore. You don't get the 1v1 at this point. There's a good amount of poke here. Zeka going to be caught up. Has the Zhonya's. Chains of Corruption. Going out just onto 1, though. ppgod stepping forward to be the front line for his team. And a lot being used here. They're managing to keep EDG at range. This is the fight BLG have been looking for. But BiuBiu getting closed on by Viper. Very nicely done by the LCK AD carry here. And now trying to close the gap onto Zeka as well. Flandre won't be able to get over, though. And now the poke continues, aiming, still blasting these shots out. EDG, they're winning the fight for now, but they've got to be careful not to overextend for this one. Aiming very, very low on mana. The Dragon getting low. They've just got to get a good smite here. Oh, but they managed to snipe out the jungler. He goes down. Now EDG look for the fight instead. Can they finish everybody off? Zeka has to be the man of the hour. ppgod saves him, but the Kingslayer doesn't come off a cooldown. And aiming finds himself alone. And Flandre wants to flex his new skin as he looks for the kill onto the enemy AD carry. Easy pickings for the Croc. And it's going to be the soul for EDG.
Soul for EDG, the fight for EDG, and that pretty much spells the game for EDG. Although that fight was played so well by BLG, trying to keep them at arm's length, trying to hold EDG at bay, you can see BiuBiu 1 step too far forward. Viper makes the play, gets the kill, and then the floodgates open for EDG.
Let's take another look at that action, because that was a long, very intense fight coming on through, and such a great snipe as well from aiming to be able to finish off Jiejie at the Dragon.
Yeah, aiming is doing a great job of getting the poke down, but you can see his mana bar, right? He's getting so low, you don't have BiuBiu to try and follow up on this. And once he gets that last snipe onto Jiejie,
yeah,
left in the tank. And from that point forward, EDG find the opportunity to get onto Zeka and get onto ppgod.
Yeah, and aiming, it turns out WeiWei actually didn't even have smite available either, so wouldn't have been able to steal that one regardless. I feel like they maybe needed to just try and get the snipe onto the Drake itself instead of onto Jiejie, and just try and use the blight shot to finish the Drake off with the percent damage. Here we go. Scout. Meiko looking for an opportunity mid here, but BLG will be able to back away. Oh, and it's getting tense here, Dagda, because it feels like EDG, they're champing at the bit, you know? They're 6,000 gold up, they've got the Martin sold, they know they're in control, and they'd love to just make the play that closes the game out.
Yeah, oh, it's just ppgod arriving, but yeah, I mean, for EDG, they have full control top side. Oh, here's the realm warp over towards Baron.
They're just going to blast it. They're just going to annihilate this Baron. The Realm Warp's so powerful when used correctly, and Scout is one of the best in the world at it. And he goes, oh, he gets the steal! WeiWei! You absolute beauty. Unbelievable. Paranoia into the pit, steals the Baron, and everybody gets away with it, at least for now. Zeka getting chased, though. Maybe Flandre can close the gap and take the kill. Zeka trying to get the that ain't happening, mate. There's no way you get that recall off. Equalizer comes down. EDG, this is their revenge for the Baron as every ult on the planet is used.
I mean, you'll take that as BLG. EDG's way of closing out this game was through Baron. They don't have a huge amount of pressure when you're just looking at the straight up carries that they have onto these turrets. Like, the range isn't there, so they really do rely on either outplaying on side lanes or this Baron to close out the game. They just don't have it right now as BLG. You still need to be careful, though.
They will be able to defend their towers, though, and hey, they've bought themselves some time, and look, at the end of the day, Elder Drake exists. If BLG can just get themselves an Elder Drake, this is still a very possible game. I have to say, everything in my head says that EDG still wins this one, but BLG at least have bought themselves a bit of time. Let's take another look, because I'm pretty sure it's the Scrying Orb, yeah. And Paranoia comes through. And it was just the reminiscent, the fading vision. A split-second difference between getting that and missing it.
I'm pretty sure he's just spamming smite onto the first thing that came in range. Was just hoping it was the Baron.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that one. That was as close as they come. And you know, after I would say having a favorable draft comparatively in the previous version of game number 3, I think BLG will be thanking their lucky stars that something's going their way finally on this one. 2 minutes until that Elder Drake spawns, Dagda. It feels like that is the moment. It feels like we're going to have a bit of a quiet time here. A bit of a lull state, as they'd say over in the LCK. Because I'm not sure either team is really willing to throw away any advantages.
Now, at this stage, BLG are just going to be happy to use this Baron to get their waves back in shape, get some control on the map, and if as a side effect they can try and get some vision in this bottom side jungle of EDG, they'd be delighted. But the big thing here is, I think we've already kind of hit on a good amount, is like, aiming is doing a lot of damage on towards the likes of Jiejie and Scout, but if he's kind of facing off against Flandre and that, the amount of armor that this team has is going to be really difficult for this lethality Varus to try and get through. And same when you're looking towards BiuBiu as well. So at the moment, the straight up just poke isn't going to be hitting as much as BLG hope, and especially when you've got like Scout with some TPs, he can go for some of this creative play that we've been talking about with the Realm Warp. You have to be so careful with BLG around these objectives that you aren't getting flanked by EDG.
That's going to be the tough. I mean, there's a lot to look out for here for BLG.
Even all the flashes are up for EDG.
Oh, maybe a pick here as WeiWei goes in. Oh, look at the damage on towards VODS. He's just forced straight out of the play. That was a singular Q from both aiming and BiuBiu, and the AD carry from EDG is just removed from the equation. And now 40 seconds until that Elder Drake spawns. BLG in full control of the area. Oh, flash away from the hook there. Meiko trying to make it happen for EDG. Doesn't quite work out for now.
Yeah, you can see EDG trying to get full control of this mid lane because they could just barrel down if BLG tried to commit to this dragon, but no wave. Now the Realm Warp behind.
Here we go, the fight's going to kick off. Equalizer is in, and BLG is spread out. There was 3 of them caught in the meat grinder. EDG blow BLG to another universe here as BiuBiu is chased down by Flandre. Nobody can face up to this man. at all this game. As Flandre will finish this one off. BiuBiu does manage to knock him away. Oh, Zeka's here. No way do they turn this one out. Flandre is going to go down instead. Surely here. Zeka should be able to finish this one off. Gets the knock-up. Finishes the kill onto the Croc. And now TP's back to the base. EDG trying to end this one out. Zeka has to be the man of the hour. He has to do the impossible and hold the base almost by himself. BiuBiu has now arrived as well. They're trying to clear the wave. Trying to do anything they can, but the dive can come on through. Knock is there. Equalizer comes down, but Zeka is locked up and taken down. And EDG, it's an exciting way to end it as they finish this series and prove to everyone that they're still on top. The ultimates come out. They're looking for a little bit of showmanship as they want a couple of bonus kills. They got to be a little bit careful, though. The health bar's getting low as Viper flashes in for a little bit more. EDG still a top team as they take down BLG.
One win on the board for EDG as they start again their campaign for summer 2021, but they're going to be pretty happy, at least with the way that these engages were happening for them. Scout on point once again with this Ryze. The Realm Warp's looking great, delivering EDG onto a very scared and very shy BLG and River to close out the game with a spectacular fight.
BLG were just not expecting that re-engage. They were not expecting the Realm Warp to come on through, and it has to be said, like, I don't see a world where Scout doesn't get MVP. Maybe there's an argument for Flandre. His Renekton was pretty terrifying in the fights, but I think Scout's Realm Warps were absolutely what clinched this game for him and the rest of the team. Really, really beautiful stuff, though, from EDG, and the fact that they're able to make this kind of creative play happen in such a tense game after such a long day. Like, yeah. We were all waiting for the delay, right? The players have been playing half a series already. And they get halfway into the third game, and then they have to wait through all that delay and then play another game. Like, these guys were absolutely exhausted by the end of that. Still being able to play to that caliber is exceptional stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's close to 1:30 a.m. for these guys over there. Like, it is not early days at all for these. Yeah. And the fact that you're still able to come out with this speaks volumes to these players. But again, I mean, it's Scout, right? This guy has been the mainstay of EDG for the last, 6 years now. He's been there since 2015, so not exactly someone you can't rely on for EDG. And I think here as well, I agree the Realm Warps and everything were amazing from Scout. Unfortunately, they went at 0-3 at the start. May hinder the MVP performance, but still, I think this is something that you can still look at as EDG and think, yeah, you know, we played the map state better than BLG. Our team fighting was superior to BLG. And our overall laning, especially in that bottom side of the map, was superior to BLG as well. So I think we're still seeing that EDG are a force to be reckoned with. Even if we did see them slip up in playoffs, they look like a team that's back and ready for action.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get to see more of that from EDG. I mean, like, look, at the end of the day, this is the result that we should expect, that EDG takes this series. But when we came into this series, the big thing I said was, hey, look, I want to see what BLG are made of. I wasn't really expecting them to get us a win, but I was hoping to see a bit of pizzazz, right? Bit of mojo, show us what you're made of. They have done that today. And sure, they don't take the win in the end, and it's a bit sad for BLG fans, but at the end of the day, they showed against one of the best teams in the league that they can show up, that they can take it to a team like EDG. They managed to win one game, they managed to put pressure on both of the other games. So I'd say if you're a fan of BLG looking for a good performance this split, this is a great way to start things off.
Yeah, I agree. I think the top half of the map looked really, really strong. BiuBiu had some moments on the Jayce where he overextended, but still, like, throughout the day, he looked really good against Flandre. WeiWei as well, and even, honestly, Zeka as well, stepping up to a certain amount. I mean, I really liked a lot of his performances. I think the big one for me is I wasn't fully convinced by ppgod, and it's kind of hard to say because I know he's a big fan base here, but, like, his Tahm Kench, his positioning wasn't great. I know, yeah. That's why I was a little bit nervous to say it, but honestly, like, his decision making on who to devour, when to devour, were a little bit sloppy as well. And as we saw, like, taking heavy trades when he didn't need to in several of the games. I'm kind of surprised because I really wanted ppgod to be able to do well, but I think he's still got a lot to learn when it comes towards how to play alongside aiming. But I think if we end up seeing that improvement, I think BLG will certainly become a force to be reckoned with. Like, it definitely feels like the foundation for a strong team is there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the key thing, is that I mean, foundation is the perfect word. They're setting the groundwork of what could be. And yes, there's a couple of bits that are loose, there are a couple of bits that need fixing up. But if they could tick some of those boxes, this is a team that, like in my mind, off of a performance like that, I would expect them to, at very least, improve their performance and maybe make it into playoffs this split. I'm excited to see what we can see. I don't want to make any crazy calls right now, but like I'm excited for the future of this BLG roster. On the side of EDG as well. Great start to things, right? A little bit dicey in the first game, but I do feel like that first one was like, okay, we hadn't considered that Karma Senna was absolutely insane and completely impossible to fight against. And then that game's kind of a wash at that point. And then the other 2 games in the series, clearly EDG managing to take things. So it felt like they took a minute to get a handle of this series and maybe get a handle of what's going on in the meta. But later on in the series, they really came into their own. And it's going to be Flandre, grabs himself the MVP on his Renekton as well. And we said it was either him or Scout. Really, really nicely done by Flandre. And I think, when we got later in the game, it didn't feel like anyone could do anything to that Renekton. Flandre was just doing whatever he wanted in the fights.
Yeah, and that's kind of where Renekton ends up scariest, right? You're not kind of limited by your own kit because you got Scout there to deliver you to every the hell you want. Yeah. You're already fed as all hell because you've got all these you've already got all these kills, you got all these assists. Like, it really felt like Flandre was just an absolute force to be reckoned with. But even in these early stages, like the TP plays were great in trying to help set up EDG. Him working, as we said, in conjunction with Scout worked out fantastic. So I think again, like, Flandre did certainly on this Renekton look back at home.
And, just being able to do so much in these fights against things like the Everfrost Sylas and so much range and the Tahm Kench peeling people, like, it's difficult to have such a huge impact as something like the Renekton, but managing to do it beautifully. Really, really strong performance coming out from Flandre and a great performance from EDG as a whole. And Dagda, that rounds up our series, and with that, we're going to go speak to our MVP. So I'm going to kick it over to Wendy once again to